Do you enjoy stumbling around in dimly lit to pitch black environments, fending off ravenous demons with high-powered weaponry? Well, gosh gee willikers, do I have something for you. No, not Doom 3. Doom Ray Traced. That's right, for the low price of a ray tracing capable GPU, you too can experience the joys of ray traced illumination, and it's cool, I guess? I don't know, I've always had somewhat of a contentious relationship with the idea of just slapping ray tracing into something. I mean, Quake 2, don't get me wrong, looks impressive when you fiddle around with the right settings, but in my heart of hearts, I don't think I can ever really see ray tracing being an effective substitute for just good, strong, artistic direction. Yeah, better used as an enhancement rather than the entire carnival. So what exactly do we get with ray tracing here? So instead of just having standard flat illumination per sector, which is how Doom traditionally does it, light here is now cast from more realistic sources, say from lamps, candles, overhead lighting, and my personal favorite, nukage barrels. It's delightful green, ethereal glow. There's also more dynamic light sources that you can appreciate during the course of this in the form of imp fireballs. As you might imagine, they'll cast their own brand of warm, demonic light as they pass through an area, and are usually best witnessed in long, dimly lit corridors. Elevators, as it happens, turn out to be an unlikely delight, doubly so if there's a light source at the top, enabling you to witness the change as it rises back up. Not gonna lie, I've spent a fair amount of time during my playthrough with Doom Ray Trace just seeing what an elevator can do to the lighting of an area. I will say some liberties seem to have been taken though. One of the things I was actually excited to try out was the tech maze of E1M2. Now, in its original form, it had a slowly strobing light blinking on and off, but in this version, it's just standard, non-faulty lighting, which is a little bit of a shame, to be honest. Ironically, ray tracing shines brightest when you've got these dimmer environments, where you've got more ambient light sources, such as either nukage pools or barrels, or even light spilling in from adjacent areas. Couple that with a firefight or two lighting up the area with your muzzle flashes, casting enemy shadows on the wall behind, and you've honestly got yourself a feast for the eyes. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention how those areas now devoid of light sources are just completely pitch black, absolutely vindicating the presence of the flashlight. Not gonna lie, it does inject a fair degree of tension into those particular areas, the kind of tension that I don't think I've felt since back when I first played the damn thing. A few more interesting additions you'll note during the course of a playthrough is that certain items have different visual effects now. For example, the radiation suit now offers just the dearest bit of visual distortion to the left and right hand side of your view, as if you are in fact looking out from behind a visor of some kind. It's a neat little touch, subtle, doesn't get in the way, but appreciated all the same. Speaking of distortion, you'll get a much more drastic form of it when you acquire the blur sphere, cloaking you in a similar effect to that of the specters, which all in all adds up to a quite trippy Predator-esque effect. The light amplification visor also gets a little bit of a makeover. You get a almost thermal camera-esque readout of your environments, which naturally blooms as you view brighter light sources, which is really neat usage of it, to be honest. So yeah, despite feeling rather skeptical about the whole thing at the beginning, I can safely say that I have warmed up to it over the course of a full playthrough of Episode 1. So much so that I actually decided to go further than that, and in my opinion, the aesthetics of Episode 2, Shores of Hell, actually complement the ray tracing tech here even more than Episode 1. If I had to put my finger on it, it may be down to the fact that Episode 2 here is just flat out gloomier as a whole than Episode 1. And as I previously stated, the ray tracing tech here really stands out in these kind of conditions. I don't know, it just seemed to have more interesting use of light sources throughout. One that particularly stood out to me was during the course of E1M4, Demos Lab. So first of all, you got the nukage mode that kicks off an earlier portion of this level, but as you get deeper, it takes advantage of more of the tech-based computer textures that I don't think I've really seen done in any previous levels before, and it's just visually striking, that deep shade of blue, that glow that it gives off. It's almost hypnotizing. I'd certainly say for me that Episode 2 is the sweet spot, because Episode 3, not so much. It's probably personal taste, but the hell textures, I feel, don't really lend themselves as well as those featured in episode 2. Plus, every time you're outside, you've got this omnipresent shade of red that I'm not sure really does many favors to the look of it. I mean, I get that it's hell. Of course it's gonna have a tinge of red to it, but whatever. At least it's got a cool occasional sideline in sealing water and surprisingly shiny rivers of blood. Now, believe it or not, you can load this up with Doom 2. It's not officially supported, and honestly, it shows. If you're in the mood for the full flashlight experience, then Doom 2 is going to be the playthrough for you. Honestly, this actively made me hesitate to blow up nukage barrels because the glow was just so damn useful at keeping things illuminated. Best I can figure, there's a few light sources that just aren't accounted for in Doom 2 by the ray tracing modifications. So yeah, if you're not using the flashlight, you're going to be exploring a lot of levels by muzzle flash or fireball. So yeah, I think I ended up enjoying this a heck of a lot more than I thought I would, which is a nice destination to arrive at, all things considered. That said, there are a few bits and bobs during the course of a level that I wouldn't mind getting the old ray tracing rub. For example, blue health potions. A little bit of ambient glow on those I feel would go a long way, doubly so in darkened areas. And I'm not sure about the feasibility of this, but I know there's a bright maps mod that gives enemies glowing eyes. And to have that available, especially in pitch black areas, I think would be a net benefit in terms of spooky factor. Oh yeah, and whatever's going on with this particular kind of red, yeah, it burns. It burns! But anyways, them's my thoughts on Doom Ray Trace for anyone who cares to have them. And if you're interested in giving this a whirl for yourself, first of all, make sure you've got a ray tracing enabled card. And secondly, you'll be able to find the link, as usual, in the description below. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to let me know what you thought in the comments. And until next time, this has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.